Welcome to IAS project. In this video, we will be doing a complete summary of Stone Age topic for ancient Indian history. Please remember, this is only a summary video. If you want to watch the entire lectures, you can watch those lectures by clicking on the link which you can see here. We have divided the study of past into 3 parts, and within each part, we have different kind of cultures. Let's see what culture is. Culture is a way of life of a group of people. This way of life consists of both material aspects as well as non-material aspects. If we talk about material aspects, food and subsistence, clothing, houses, pottery, and all these are material aspects because you can touch all these things. If we talk about non-material aspects, ideas, beliefs, religions, festivals, and other things are included in non-material aspects because you cannot touch the non-material aspects of culture. Culture at any place or for any group of people depends on various factors, on geography and climate where the people are living, on resources that are available to the people, history of a group of people, their education levels, and the values and ethics that they hold. Examples of culture can be Stone Age cultures, Chalcolithic culture, Harappan culture, Aryan culture, Mahajanapada culture, and all those. So we have divided study of past into 3 parts. The first part is prehistory. Prehistory is basically a study of such part of the past where writing has not been invented. So, from prehistoric period, we do not have any written records available. That is why if we want to study about prehistory, we mainly use the help of archaeological remains. What are archaeological remains? Stone tools that are used by people, their pottery, burial practices, artifacts and metal implements, cave paintings, all these are called as archaeological remains, and these archaeological remains are used to study prehistoric people because we cannot get any help from writing records as they are not available. Prehistoric period mainly coincides with Pleistocene epoch. Pleistocene epoch was roughly from 2.6 million years ago to 12,000 years ago. Examples of prehistory can be Stone Age and many of Chalcolithic cultures. The second part of the study of the past was proto-history. For any study of the past to be called as proto-history, it must satisfy 2 conditions simultaneously. The first condition is written records from any culture are either not available or even if they are available, they have not been deciphered yet. This is the first condition. The other conditions that also must be satisfied is there should be references of that culture in other contemporary literature. For example, if we consider Harappan culture, it can be called as proto-history because there are written records available from Harappan culture. However, they have not been deciphered yet. At the same time, the second condition is satisfied for Harappan culture because in Mesopotamian literature, we find references to Harappan culture. That is why Harappan culture satisfies both these conditions and therefore is a part of proto-history. Similarly, Aryan culture is also part of proto-history. There is another definition for proto-history also. This definition states that proto-history is any period of past which belongs to a time period between the beginning of agriculture production and the start of Iron Age. If we go by this definition, many of the Neolithic cultures as well as Chalcolithic cultures fall under proto-history. The third and the last part of the study of past is history. What is history? History, it refers to study of such part of the past where written records are available and they also have been deciphered. For example, ancient Egyptian culture is a study of history because ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic script has already been deciphered. Similarly, ancient Mesopotamian culture is also a study of history because cuneiform script here has been deciphered. The latest example we can give, Indian independence movement is also study of history because we have hundreds and thousands of literary evidences, that is books and documents available for the purpose of Indian independence study. However, please remember at this point, Harappan script has not been deciphered. Therefore, Harappan culture is a part of proto-history, not a part of history. So if we are talking about prehistory, we know that there are no written records available. Therefore, we must rely on archaeological remains. Now the question is, how do we date these archaeological remains? We follow many scientific techniques for this. The first one is archaeological excavation of mounds. In this, what archaeologists do is they simply start digging from top layer to bottom layer. And whatever they find in the top layer, is relatively new compared to whatever they find in the bottom layer. This is the principle of excavation by layers. The next method, or I should say a group of methods, is called as radiometric dating. Within radiometric dating, we have radiocarbon dating. This method studies the composition of carbon 14 to carbon 12 within the test specimen, and then it dates the specimen. You must remember that radiocarbon dating can be used only on dead organic material. For example, human and animal remains like bones or skin, leather, etc., or plant remains or charcoal, food grains and seeds and other objects. This is very important as far as radiocarbon dating is considered, because radiocarbon dating cannot be used on stone tools. Another type of radiometric dating is potassium argon dating, which is mainly used for dating of volcanic rocks. Similarly, uranium lead dating, it is used for dating of earth. Another type of radiometric dating is fission track dating. We also have many other radiometric dating methods which are not given here. Another scientific technique is thermoluminescence dating, which is mainly used on heated inorganic material. For example, like pottery, terracotta, burnt bricks, we burn all these things. Therefore, when we burn it in fire, we generally reach a certain temperature. Because of reaching certain temperature, there happens some kind of changes within that material, and those changes can be tracked using thermoluminescence dating. The next scientific technique is study of tree rings. This is mainly used to study or date timber or wooden objects. The last method shown here is amino acid analysis, which is mainly used for dating of bones. We have talked about human evolution. Australopithecus was the first ancestor species of humans to walk on 2 feet. That is why we called Australopithecus as the first bipedal ancestor of humans. Then Australopithecus evolved into Homo habilis. Homo habilis evolved into Homo erectus. Homo erectus was the first human species to walk upright. Therefore, we call Homo erectus as first upright walking human. Therefore, the name also is erectus, which means standing straight. Homo erectus evolved into Neanderthals, and Neanderthals evolved into Homo sapiens, as well as Homo erectus also evolved into Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens are nothing but the modern humans you see today. Narmada human was basically a fossil which was found on the banks of river Narmada in Madhya Pradesh. It is the oldest fossil of any human being found in India so far. The age of Narmada human is estimated to be 5 lakh years old. Please remember that Narmada human belongs to a species of Homo erectus, not Homo sapiens. If we talk about classifying the prehistoric period, we can classify it somewhat like this. The first and the most important part is Stone Age. Stone Age can be further classified into Paleolithic Age, Mesolithic Age and Neolithic Age. Further, Paleolithic Age can be divided like this. Let's talk about Stone Age. Stone Age is basically that prehistoric period when stone tools were exclusively used by human beings. I have used the word almost exclusively because along with stone tools, people at this time also used bone tools. Stone Age lasted for almost 2 million years in India, but in the case of Africa, it is greater than 3 million years. But we are more interested about India, so it is 2 million years. As we have said, Stone Age can be further divided into 3 parts. And the division into 3 parts is mainly based on, is it Pleistocene or Holocene? What are the type and technology of stone tools used by these people? And what were the food sources of these people? Food sources are also called as subsistence base. So accordingly, Stone Age has been divided into 3 parts. The first part is Paleolithic Age, which is the oldest part of Stone Age. That is why it is also called as Early Stone Age. Moreover, the word Paleo means old and word Lithic means stone. Therefore, Paleolithic Age is also called as Old Stone Age. Similarly, Meso means middle and Lithic means stone. Therefore, Mesolithic Age is also called as Middle Stone Age. And the last one, Neolithic Age, also has similar meaning because Neo means new, Lithic means stone. Therefore, Neolithic Age became New Stone Age. Let's talk about the first part of Stone Age, that is Paleolithic Age, which is also called as Old Stone Age or Early Stone Age. Paleolithic Age basically coincides with Pleistocene epoch. Pleistocene epoch was somewhere around 2.6 million years ago to 12,000 years ago. And Pleistocene epoch is succeeded by Holocene epoch. Therefore, Holocene epoch is the latest epoch and it started 11,700 years ago, and it is even continuing till the present day. So whatever the present year is, it simply belongs to Holocene epoch. If we talk about climate during Paleolithic age, we can say it as a climate during Pleistocene epoch. And during Pleistocene epoch, many ice ages existed. That is why Pleistocene epoch is also called as Great Ice Age. Therefore, we can say that Paleolithic age, which coincided with Pleistocene epoch, is simply nothing but the Great Ice Age. Where did people in Paleolithic age live in India? The answer would be they lived everywhere, except alluvial plains of Indus, Ganga, Yamuna and other major rivers. Why? Because in the alluvial plains, they could not find stone, and stone was very important for them to make stone tools. Where did they find stone? They found stone near hilly slopes and river valleys. Because of this reason, they lived near hilly slopes and river valleys instead of alluvial plains of Indus and Ganga rivers. This can be a prelims question directly. Moreover, in hilly slopes and river valleys, they could easily get cave shelters as well as water. In the case of world stage, Australopithecus, which is the oldest human ancestor to walk on 2 feet, used stone tools almost 3 million years ago. And evidence of this has been found in Kenya and Tanzania. Those earliest stone tools are a part of Oldowan stone tool industry, and they are generally called as Oldowan stone tools. After Australopithecus, Homo habilis as well as Homo erectus also used stone tools. In case of Paleolithic age, people were mainly hunters and gatherers. That is why they got their food from hunting and gathering. They did not have any knowledge of agriculture or domestication of animals. However, towards the end of Paleolithic age, they have discovered the use of fire for cooking meat. Moreover, Paleolithic people lived in natural caves and rock shelters. They did not know how to build houses. They did not have any metal. They made tools from stones. And particularly, they used quartzite to make their stone tools. That is why Paleolithic people of India are also called as quartzite men. If we talk about their stone tools, they were rough, unpolished, and relatively not sharp. What kind of stones did they use to make stone tools? They used pebbles as well as stone cores, which were made from the material of quartzite. Pottery was not invented during this period. Also, towards the end of the Paleolithic age, that is, towards Upper Paleolithic age, they started to do paintings. But initially, they did not do paintings. Examples of Paleolithic age in India can be Madrasian culture, which is mainly in South India, and Soan culture, which is mainly near Shivalik Hills in North India. So if we talk about quartzite, quartzite is a metamorphic rock. That is why it is free from pores, and when it is broken, it breaks into a smooth surface. That is why it is very suitable for making stone tools. These are some of the Paleolithic sites in India. You can remember all of this, but let me tell you some of the important ones. Potwar Plateau and Soan Valley in Pakistan region, Shivalik Hills in North India, Bhimbetka and Adamgarh Hill in Madhya Pradesh, Karnool in Andhra Pradesh and Athirampakkam in Tamil Nadu, Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh. These are very important sites. So we have divided Paleolithic age into 3 parts. Now let us study each part. The first part is Lower Paleolithic age. Lower Paleolithic age is the first part of Paleolithic age. That is why it is also called as Early Paleolithic age. Lower Paleolithic age started at the same time of Paleolithic age, that is nothing but it started 2 million years ago and it lasted up to 50,000 years ago. Therefore, the time period is 1.95 million years. That is why it is called as the largest part of Paleolithic age. Moreover, it started at the same time of Paleolithic age. That is why it is also called as the oldest part of Paleolithic age. If we talk about stone tools that were used during this period, they were mainly hand axes, choppers and cleavers. These stone tools were made from a process called as lithic reduction, and they used all these stone tools for the purpose of chopping, digging, cleaving and skinning. So you can see some of the lower Paleolithic age stone tools here. This is called as a hand axe, this is a cleaver and this is a chopper. These 3 tools are the most important lower Paleolithic age tools used in India. Let us look at how these stone tools were prepared by lower Paleolithic age people. What they did was they first took a pebble and they hit this pebble with another stone. And because of this hitting, small parts started to be removed from this pebble. And eventually pebble became something like this after all these parts have been removed after hitting with another stone. This process of hitting two stones is called as knapping. So now this is called as a prepared stone core, and this prepared stone core was used for making stone tools in lower Paleolithic period. And what kind of stone tools did they make? They made hand axes, choppers and cleavers. This process is called as lithic reduction. You can see some of the important lower Paleolithic sites in India here. The most important ones probably are Son Valley and Kashmir, Shivalik Hills, Belan Valley, Bhimbetka and Atirampakkam. So we talked about Pleistocene epoch and Holocene epoch. This is mainly a geography topic, but let us summarize this very quickly. When we use words like age and period, they have a different meaning in history and a different meaning in geography. When we use these words in history, they simply mean a span of time. Therefore, it is very close to like speaking in general English. But in the case of geography, these words have specific meanings. They are related to important events on Earth. And therefore, all these words are used to chart what is called as a geological timescale. Geological timescale means the timescale of Earth. Geological timescale is shown in this table here. The largest part is called as eon, and one eon is generally for more than 1 billion years. Eons are subdivided into eras. Eras are further divided into periods. Periods are divided into epochs, and epochs are finally divided into ages. Therefore, we can say age is the smallest part of geological timescale and eon is the largest part. There is something else called as a super eon. Super eon is even larger than eon, just for your information. So if we talk about ages, Meghalayan age is the age that we are currently living in. Before Meghalayan age, we had North Grippian age and Greenlandian age. All these three ages belong to Holocene epoch. Holocene epoch started somewhere around 12,000 years ago. And before Holocene epoch, we had Pleistocene epoch. Both Holocene as well as Pleistocene belong to Quaternary period. You only need to remember this much. You don't need to remember all this from the point of view of history. Now we can talk about a prelims question. If the question is asked, what age do we live in today? The answer would be Meghalayan age. What epoch do we live in today? Holocene. What period? It would be Quaternary. What era? It would be Cenozoic. What eon? It would be Phanerozoic eon, which is shown here. So all these are the current eon, era, period, epoch and ages. The next part of Paleolithic age was Middle Paleolithic age. It is a very small part because it lasted only for 10,000 years in India. It started somewhere around 50,000 BCE and it ended around 40,000 BCE. Middle Paleolithic age is considered as a transitional phase between lower and upper Paleolithic ages. That is why we find certain features in Middle Paleolithic age which belong to both lower Paleolithic as well as upper Paleolithic. The stone tools used during this period were mainly flake tools. We will see how flakes were made shortly. But using flake tools, they made blades, burins, points, borers and scrapers. So we can call these tools as characteristic tools of Middle Paleolithic age. Flake tools were generally smaller than stone core tools. That is why they were also lighter. Moreover, they were extremely sharp, easy to make and repair. That is why flake tools can be considered as superior stone tools compared to prepared stone core tools that were being used in lower Paleolithic age. If we talk about how flakes were made, we saw how pebble is converted by knapping into prepared stone core. And once the prepared stone core is prepared, one more hit is made so that such kind of material is removed. This material is basically called as flake. Flake is basically a thin layer of stone. This is how flake was made. And these flakes were used in Middle Paleolithic age to make flake stone tools. What were the flake stone tools that were used in Middle Paleolithic? They were nothing but blades, burins, points, scrapers and borers. So the images of blades, burins and scrapers has been given here. Other than these three, we also have borers and scrapers, which were important flake tools that were used in Middle Paleolithic age. And along with these flake tools, prepared stone core tools as well as hand axes from lower Paleolithic age were also continued to be used. If we look at some of the important Middle Paleolithic sites, we can see Potwar Plateau, Bhimbetka, Belan Valley and Tungabhadra Valley are very important. The last part of the Paleolithic age was Upper Paleolithic age. Upper Paleolithic age started somewhere around 40,000 years ago and it lasted up to 10,000 BCE. Therefore, this ending part coincided with the end of Pleistocene epoch, which is nothing but 11,700 years ago. So Upper Paleolithic Age was nothing but the most recent part of the Paleolithic Age. It coincided with the last part of Pleistocene epoch, that is the last phase of Ice Age. So at the end of Upper Paleolithic Age, the epoch has changed from Pleistocene to Holocene. Along with this change, there were certain changes that were happening in the environment. First, the climate became warmer and drier. Warmer means temperature has increased, drier means rainfall has decreased. And because of this temperature increase, grasslands developed at many regions in the world. And among these grasses, some grasses were cereals. Cereals are nothing but those grasses that bear food grains. Examples of cereals can be rice, wheat, barley, corn, maize, oats, and all these. So because of these two things, what happened was the animals that were dependent on grasses also increased their population. What are the animals that depend on grasses called? They are nothing but herbivores. For example, deer, buffalo, wild cattle, and other animals. So because of the development of grasslands and the increase in population of herbivores, people would soon start what is called as plant cultivation and animal domestication. But they did not start these two in Upper Paleolithic Age. They only started this at the end of Mesolithic Age. So we can say that when Upper Paleolithic Age ended, Mesolithic Age began with a new type of climate, that is warmer and drier type of climate. During Upper Paleolithic Age, new flint industries emerged. Therefore, new flint tools were used here. The type of stone tools were parallel-sided blades as well as burins. And by the end of Upper Paleolithic Age, bone tools also started to be used. Therefore, in Stone Age, we have stone tools as well as bone tools. Many scientists believe that Homo sapiens came to India during Upper Paleolithic Age. However, recent excavations at certain sites like Jwalapuram in Andhra Pradesh are giving us evidence that Homo sapiens probably came more than 80,000 years ago. So more research is needed on this topic. We just said that flint tools were used during Upper Paleolithic Age. What is flint? Flint is nothing but a sedimentary form of mineral quartz. We have talked about quartz sandstone. Quartz sandstone, if it undergoes metamorphosis, then it becomes quartzite. If it undergoes sedimentation, then it becomes flint. So quartzite is a metamorphic rock, whereas flint is a sedimentary type of rock. Flint breaks into sharp-edged pieces. That is why it is very useful in making knife blades and other cutting tools. Flint is also used to make fire. One very important development that happened during Upper Paleolithic Age was paintings were made. That is why we can say the oldest cave paintings and rock shelter paintings in India belong to Upper Paleolithic Age. For example, some paintings in Bhimbetka are almost 30,000 years old. That means they belong to Upper Paleolithic Age. In these paintings, people draw hunting scenes, dancing, and other geometric designs. Geometric designs like straight lines, wavy lines, circles, and dots were drawn. These paintings are mainly linear representations, meaning they were drawn in using lines, something like this. And colors used were mainly green and dark red. Some animals that appear in these paintings include bison, elephant, rhino, boar, and other animals. This is very important from the point of view of prelims. Humans in these paintings were drawn like stick-like figures, meaning something like this. So these are the two arms, these are two legs, and this is head. Although cave paintings started in Upper Paleolithic Age, the number of paintings we have from Upper Paleolithic are very less. Most of the paintings in Bhimbetka rock shelters actually belong to Mesolithic Age. However, the earliest paintings started in Upper Paleolithic Age itself. These are some of the important Upper Paleolithic sites in India: Bhimbetka Belan Valley, Son Valley, Chota Nagpur Plateau, and Muchatla Chintamanu Gavi, which is a very recent discovery. Muchatla Chintamanu Gavi is in Kurnool, which is in Andhra Pradesh. It is a part of Belam Cave Complex. So we talked about Stone Age, Paleolithic Age, and three parts of Paleolithic Age as well. Now let's talk about Mesolithic Age. Mesolithic Age is basically a transitional period from Paleolithic Age to Neolithic Age. It started somewhere around 12,000 years ago and it lasted only for 2 or 3,000 years and it ended at 10,000 years ago. These timelines are basically a generalization and they are not fixed for every region in India. So you have to make that kind of allowance whenever you're studying different regions. When last ice age ended almost 12,000 years ago, Paleolithic Age has also ended. And because of the end of the last ice age, some changes in the environment have happened. Climate became warm and dry, and because of that, grasslands increased, cereal grasses increased, and herbivores that depend on these grasses also increased. Now the time was ready to think about cultivation of plants and domestication of animals. As I have just stated, the general timeline of Mesolithic Age is between 12,000 years ago and 10,000 years ago. However, this is not the same everywhere within the subcontinent. In some places, it started and ended much later than these two time periods. As Ice Age ended at the end of Paleolithic Age, Mesolithic Age saw rapid changes in the climate. For example, warmer and drier conditions were there initially at the start of Mesolithic Age. So, Paleolithic Age belonged to Pleistocene epoch, but Mesolithic Age and Neolithic Age belong to Holocene epoch, which started around 12,000 years ago, and it is even continuing till present day. If we talk about Holocene epoch, it is divided into three ages. The oldest age in the Holocene epoch is Greenlandian Age, and then we have North Grippian Age, and the latest age is Meghalayan Age. We are currently living in Meghalayan Age because it is continuing even today, and it started somewhere around 40 to 100 years ago. These are all the changes that happened in these three ages. If we talk about Meghalayan Age particularly, it started with an abrupt and extreme drought, and that abrupt and extreme drought almost lasted for 200 years. As this drought started around 4,200 years ago, this event in history is also called as 4.2 kilo year event. This can be directly asked in prelims exam. What is a 4.2 kilo year event? And the name Meghalaya in Meghalayan Age comes from Mamlo cave, which is located in Meghalaya in India. Here, scientists have found a stratigraphic reference where a distinction from North Grippian Age to Meghalayan Age is clearly visible. Holocene epoch has been divided into three ages by IUGS, that is nothing but International Union of Geological Sciences. And IUGS divided the Holocene epoch into three ages based on the recommendations of ICS, that is International Commission on Stratigraphy. ICS is nothing but one of the commissions run by IUGS. And IUGS is basically a scientific union member of ISC, that is International Science Council. So we can say that International Science Council is the parent body of International Union of Geological Sciences. And International Union of Geological Sciences is the parent body of International Commission on Stratigraphy. Some of the important Mesolithic sites have been shown here. Langhanaj, Bagod in Rajasthan, Adamgarh Hill and Bhimbetka, Kaimur Hills and Birbanpur in West Bengal are very important. Mesolithic Age people were still hunters and gatherers. Therefore, the main source of food for them was from hunting and gathering. However, there was a change in the practices of hunting. Previously, Paleolithic people used to hunt large animals like mammoths and elephants, but Mesolithic people mainly focused on hunting small animals. In Mesolithic Age, fishing was also practiced. One of the most important inventions of Mesolithic Age was invention of bow and arrow. This was possible because of invention of microliths. Mesolithic people did not grow cotton. That is why they did not wear cotton clothes. They were still wearing animal hides. Mesolithic people also did not build any houses. They still lived in natural caves and rock shelters. Tools of Mesolithic people is very important from the point of view of prelims. Mesolithic people used microliths. Micro means small, lith means stone. Therefore, microlith tool is nothing but a small stone tool. Therefore, microliths are nothing but small stone tools which were generally about the size of 5 cm. So we can call microliths as characteristic or distinct tools from the Mesolithic Age. As you can see here, microliths are often used as blades as well as they are often used as arrowheads and spearheads. Therefore, they were used to make composite tools also. Pottery was not invented in Mesolithic Age because pottery is mainly associated with Neolithic Age. However, we have certain rare evidences of pottery even from Mesolithic sites. For example, we have found pottery evidence in Langhanaj and Kaimur region. However, these pottery were very primitive pottery and therefore we generally do not associate pottery with Mesolithic Age. If there is a question in prelims exam, which age do you associate pottery with? Then the answer would be Neolithic Age, not Mesolithic Age. Agriculture and animal domestication was usually not done during this period. However, we have evidences that Mesolithic people domesticated one particular animal, that is dog. We must remember that Mesolithic people are mainly hunter-gatherer culture people, so they did not generally domesticate animals. Domestication of animals as well as cultivation of plants only started at the very end of Mesolithic Age. That is why we can say animal domestication as well as agriculture started in Neolithic Age, not Mesolithic Age. In Mesolithic Age, cave paintings proliferated. We have seen in our previous slide that cave paintings in India first started in Upper Paleolithic Age. However, the number of cave paintings that we find from Upper Paleolithic Age are very less. We find most of the cave paintings in India from Mesolithic Age, not Upper Paleolithic Age. Examples can be in Bhimbetka caves, Karwad, Jawada and Katotia in Madhya Pradesh, Sundargarh and Sambalpur in Odisha, Eluthu Guha in Kerala. All these places have Mesolithic Age paintings. What were the scenes that were drawn in Mesolithic Age paintings? They were mainly animal hunting, gathering of fruits and honey, and other social activities like community dances, music, singing like these, depictions of family life like cooking and other works, and all these were common themes in the paintings of Mesolithic Age. Apart from this, we also have evidences of fist prints, handprints, and fingerprints. Here you can see the paintings which were made in Bhimbetka rock shelters. If we talk about Bhimbetka, then Bhimbetka rock shelters are located in Vindhyan range and they are located towards the south of Bhopal, which is present in Madhya Pradesh. The shelter has actually more than 800 rock shelters. However, not all of these have cave paintings. About 500 rock shelters have cave paintings on them. Paintings were usually made on walls as well as ceilings of caves and rock shelters. Earliest cave painting in Bhimbetka belongs to Upper Paleolithic Age. However, many paintings were made in Mesolithic Age. Paintings were mainly of animals, birds and human beings. They used various colors like white, yellow, orange, red ochre, purple, brown, green and black. They made colors mainly from rocks and minerals. For example, red color came from ochre, which in English is called as hematite iron ore. In Hindi it is called as geru. Similarly, green came from chalcedony, white came from limestone, black came from charcoal. Similarly, other colors also made from different rocks and minerals. They made these rocks and minerals into powder and then they mixed it with water, gum resin or animal fat. Therefore, they made a paste kind of paint. And using plant fibers, they painted this paste on the rock walls. And eventually what happened was, this color paste underwent chemical reaction with the walls of the caves. That is why even after thousands of years, we can still see these cave paintings. Themes of Bhimbetka cave paintings include hunting scenes, dancing, music, animal fighting and other household scenes. Now let's talk about Neolithic Age. Neolithic Age started somewhere around 10,000 years ago and it usually ended at 3,000 years ago. However, this is a very general timeline. If we compare Neolithic Age in northern and western part of India with southern and eastern part of India, we can observe some major differences. The first difference is that in northern and western part, it started early. So Neolithic Age started early. In southern and eastern part, it started late. In northern and western part, it lasted longer. Whereas in southern and eastern part, it lasted shorter. Moreover, in northern and western part, Neolithic Age was more advanced. In southern and eastern part, it was less advanced. So these are the differences of Neolithic Age people if we compare northern and western parts of subcontinent with southern and eastern parts of subcontinent. We can know about Neolithic Age people from burnt grains, animal bones, burial sites, stone tools and implements, pottery, mud brick and stone houses, cave paintings and other archaeological remains. Please see here that in case of Paleolithic Age, we cannot use burnt grains, pottery or even houses because these three things did not exist in Paleolithic Age. However, these three things can be used to study Neolithic Age. So the characteristic feature of Neolithic Age was domestication of animals as well as cultivation of plants. Domestication is basically a gradual process and it started when there was climate change at the beginning of Holocene epoch, that is around 12,000 years ago. Let's look at some of the important features of Neolithic Age. The first and the most important feature is the start of food production. This is called as a characteristic feature of Neolithic Age. The first plants or the first crops to be domesticated were wheat and barley. After wheat and barley, Neolithic people also domesticated rice and millets. Moreover, different crops were grown in different regions in India. For example, if we consider southern India, then here ragi and millets were grown. Along with ragi and millets, horse gram and black gram were also grown. If we consider Kashmir region, that is in North India, then wheat and lentils were grown here. If we talk about Uttar Pradesh or the Gangetic plains, then rice was a very common crop here. So this is how different areas had different crops. We must remember that Plow was not invented in Neolithic age. This is very, very important. However, in certain sites like Piklihal in Karnataka, we have found evidence of stone hoe as well as digging sticks. But plow was not invented during this period. So lentils were grown in Kashmir. What are lentils? Lentils are basically those pulses that are lens shaped. For example, Pigeon pea, green gram, red gram, black gram and Bengal gram are considered as lentils. You can see lentils here. Lentils are basically a type of pulses. In pulses we have many subcategories. These three are not lentils. Only these are lentils. So if we talk about pulses, pulses are nothing but dried edible seeds from legume plants. Examples of pulses include beans, dry peas, chickpeas and lentils. If we talk about legumes, then legumes are basically any plants from Fabaceae family or Leguminosae family. Legumes are basically an umbrella family that includes all beans, peas and pulses. For example, soybeans, peanuts, fresh peas, fresh beans as well as pulses are nothing but legumes. So therefore, we can establish a hierarchy here. All lentils are nothing but a subset of pulses and all pulses are a subset of legumes. Or you can draw this using a Venn diagram also, something like this. The outer circle is nothing but legumes, the middle circle is nothing but pulses and the inner circle is nothing but lentils. So all lentils are pulses but some pulses are not lentils. Similarly, all pulses are legumes but some legumes are not pulses. I hope this is clear. Another important feature of Neolithic age was pottery was invented during this period. Pottery was mainly invented so that surplus food grains can be stored. Pottery was generally of two types. One which was made by hand was called as handmade pottery and one which was made on potter's wheel was called as wheel thrown pottery. They used pottery mainly for storing grains as well as cooking food. They also used large pots or large urns mainly for burial of dead. They used these large urns as coffins. Neolithic pottery mainly includes black burnished ware, grey ware and matte impressed ware. This is very important for prelims. So representative images are shown here. This is grey ware, this is black burnished ware and this is impressed ware. Burnishing is basically a type of polishing, okay? So therefore the surface of burnished ware is generally smooth, but grey ware is not smooth. Impressed ware mainly has certain decorations like this. So impression is basically a part of decoration. Another important feature of Neolithic age is animal domestication and animal herding. We know dog was the first animal to be domesticated by people. After dog, people also domesticated goats, sheep and cattle. And all these animals were mainly reared for their meat, not for their milk. Because Neolithic people did not consume milk or any dairy products. They only ate meat of these animals. If we talk about stone tools became advanced. What were the type of stone tools used in Neolithic age? This is very, very important from prelims exam point of view. Polished, pegged and ground stone tools were now used. Example of these stone tools can be stone celts. Celts are nothing but polished axe heads. So we can say stone celts are characteristic tools of Neolithic age. Neolithic age people have also used bone tools. Along with these, mortars and pestles were also used. And mortars and pestles were mainly used for grinding grain and other plant produce. Here you can see stone celts. These are very polished, meaning smooth. And here you can see mortar and pestle. Both of these were used in Neolithic age. If we talk about house construction by Neolithic age people, for the first time, people built houses. So, what were the houses that were built by Neolithic age people? They built mainly mud and reed houses. These were the most common type of houses built by Neolithic age people. However, depending on the region, house building technology was also different. For example, in the case of northwestern part of subcontinent, that is in Mehergarh, stone houses were built. If we talk about Kashmir, then dwelling pits were built here. Dwelling pits are nothing but pit houses. You can see here, pit houses generally were built underground like this. This is the surface of the ground and most part of the house is actually under the ground. We can find evidence of pit houses mainly from two sites in Kashmir Neolithic culture. They are nothing but Burzahom and Gufkral. Very important from prelims point of view. Kashmiri Neolithic people used polished stone tools as well as bone tools. However, they did not use any microliths. Another important construction from the point of view of Neolithic age, especially in South India, is construction of ash mounds. We see ash mounds from Neolithic age in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Cotton was grown for the first time in Neolithic age. Therefore, Neolithic age people also wore cotton clothes. Apart from cotton clothes, they also wore woolen weaved clothes. However, they still continued to use animal hides for clothing purpose. Cattle were also used for transportation. They were not only used for getting meat, but they were also used for transportation. However, we must remember that wheels were not invented during this period for transportation purpose. Therefore, we did not have any kind of bullock carts. However, there was one wheel that was invented. What was that wheel? That was potter's wheel. So they used wheel for making pottery, but not for transportation. And horse was not known to Neolithic age people in India at that time. Another important aspect of Neolithic age was community living happened during this period. Community living means self-sufficient communities have now emerged. Because they were doing plant cultivation and animal domestication, food was now available to them 365 days in a year. They did not have to depend wholly on hunting and gathering. That is why self-sufficient communities emerged in Neolithic period. They did not emerge before this. The cultivation which was practiced by Neolithic age people was mainly shifting cultivation, which is also called as jum cultivation. And because of shifting cultivation, Neolithic age people are still considered as nomads, not a settled type of people. However, they were more settled compared to Mesolithic age people or Paleolithic age people. At the world level, megalithic architecture and monuments started to be built during Neolithic age. However, in the case of India, megalithic construction mainly happened in Iron Age. That is why if we talk about India, megalithic construction or megalithic architecture is associated with Iron Age and not Neolithic Age. So therefore, we will study megalithic architecture when we discuss topic of Iron Age. But you must remember that at the world stage, megalithic architecture is associated with Neolithic Age. Only in the case of India, megalithic constructions took place in Iron Age. And megaliths are found almost everywhere in India. However, many of the megaliths that are surviving today exist in South India, especially in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Certain aspects of megalithic culture are present even today in certain tribes like Gonds, who are present in central India, and Khasis, who are present in Meghalaya. So we can say megalithic culture is still surviving even today. If we look at some of the important Neolithic sites in India, you can see them here. Kashmiri Neolithic sites are Burzahum and Gufkral. In Pakistan, we have Mehergarh, Kot Diji and Amri. All these sites are also Harappan sites. In UP and Bihar, we have Mahadaha, Mahagada, Koldihwa and Chirand. In Chirand, we have found so many number of bone tools. Mahagada was probably the first place in India to grow rice. And Koldihwa is located in Belan Valley. Neolithic sites are relatively very few in this region, that is in Madhya Pradesh and Upper Deccan region. But in South India, we have many Neolithic sites. In South India, mainly the area south of Godavari Valley, here the people settled on granite hills. In Karnataka, we find many Neolithic sites. Nagarjuna Konda in Andhra Pradesh is very important. Other than this, Payampalli as well as Maski and Hallur are very important. If we talk about Northeast India, Daujeli Heding is important in Assam. We also have Neolithic sites in Garo Hills and Assam Hills. Let's talk about Chirand Neolithic site, which is present in Bihar. It lies towards west of Patna. In Chirand, we have found a lot of bone tools and tools that were made from antlers and horns. However, in Chirand, there were very less number of stone tools. Therefore, this is a very unique aspect of Chirand, that bone tools and horn as well as antler tools have been found here, but very less stone tools have been found here. In Chirand, we also have evidence of wheat, green gram, which means moong dal, barley, buffalo and ox bones and other bone tools. Burzahom and Gufkral are very important Neolithic sites in Kashmir. Burzahom means place of birch. Birch is basically a deciduous tree which mainly grows in western Himalayas. The bark of birch, which is basically called as birch bark, has been used in the past to mainly write manuscripts. This is mainly possible because the bark of the birch tree is white in color. You can see even in pictures, all the bark is white in color. So Neolithic people in Burzahom mainly lived in dwelling pits or pit houses near the lakes. Here people practiced agriculture, animal domestication, hunting of animals as well as fishing. The most important crops that were grown in Neolithic age in this region were wheat and lentil. Apart from this, they also domesticated dog, cattle, sheep, goat and buffalo. And their houses were pit houses. Burzahom is rich in stone tools as well as bone tools. However, microliths were not found here. A unique discovery that was made in Burzahom was they found a man who was buried along with his dog. Another Neolithic site in Kashmir was Gufkral, which means potter's cave. It is located towards the southeast of Srinagar. So both these sites in Kashmir are very important from the point of view of Neolithic age. Neolithic settlements in Madhya Pradesh and Upper Deccan are relatively rare because here suitable type of stone tool is not available. This table has been given in NCERT and it shows the evidences that were found in different Neolithic sites in India. Let us quickly see what are the important evidences. In Mehergarh, wheat and barley was found, as well as a burial of man along with his goats. In Koldihwa and Mahagada, rice was found. Both these sites are present in Uttar Pradesh. In Gufkral and Burzahom, they have found evidence of wheat and lentil. Both these sites are basically Kashmiri Neolithic sites. Here they also have pit houses. In Chirand, bone tools were found. In Hallur and Payampally, which are mainly in South India, they have found millets. In Daujili Heding, which is in Brahmaputra Valley in Assam, they have found mortars and pestles, jadeite and pottery. Jadeite is basically a green color precious stone. So we have stated that Stone Age can be divided into different parts based on three factors. They were nothing but geological age, characteristic stone tools of that period, and the subsistence base, that is nothing but food sources that are available to the people. So if we talk about Lower Paleolithic Age, the geological age during this time was Pleistocene epoch. And Lower Paleolithic Age people used pebbles and prepared stone core tools. For example, they used hand axes, cleavers and choppers. And Lower Paleolithic people mainly got their food from hunting and gathering. If we talk about Middle Paleolithic Age people, Middle Paleolithic Age also belonged to Pleistocene epoch. But these people used flake tools which were made from prepared stone cores. Stone tools of these peoples were blades, burins, points, borers and scrapers. These people also depended on hunting and gathering for their food. If we talk about Upper Paleolithic Age, people in Upper Paleolithic Age made flake tools like parallel sided blades and burins. Along with flake tools, they also used flint stone to make their tools. They also depended on hunting and gathering for their food. Now the real change happens. Mesolithic Age belongs to Holocene epoch because Holocene epoch started 11,700 years ago. Mesolithic people used tools which were called as microliths. Microliths are nothing but small stone tools. Apart from hunting and gathering, Mesolithic people also did fishing. Along with fishing, at the end of Mesolithic Age, primitive cases of animal domestication as well as a primitive case of cultivation of plants can also be found. Now the real advancement actually happened in Neolithic Age. Neolithic Age also belonged to Holocene epoch. In Neolithic Age, polished, pegged and ground stone tools were used. The type of stone tools made in this period mainly was stone cells. They also used bone tools and they also made mortars and pestles from stone. This is very important. For the purpose of their food, they no longer depended entirely on hunting and gathering because they started food production. Food production mainly because cultivation of plants and animal domestication was done. However, they also got some of their food from hunting and gathering. So this is the summary of Stone Age. If you want to watch the entire lectures of Stone Age, you can watch by clicking on this link here. This link will take you to the playlist and you can watch the Stone Age lectures in very much detail. Please like and subscribe. You can download the presentation as well as the material from our Telegram channel, which is IAS Project. The link for the Telegram channel is given in the description. Thank you.